Business Series webinar sponsored by Wells Fargo Foundation. Thank you very much for joining us today and taking the time out of your busy day. My name is Lisa Bella. I'm the CEO of the San Joaquin County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This is the first of many webinars to help place the resources in the hands of our small business owners during this pandemic. We're here to help, and please also note that as you come in, you'll be muted upon entry. So, well, with further ado, I would like to introduce today's presenter, Veronica Monell, owner and business strategist of Jumpstart Now. Veronica is an expert in her field of strategy and achieving the needs and goals of the business community. Because at the end of the day, it's all about delivering real results, right? And Veronica's
Yes.
commitment to growing businesses and building reputation and brand awareness is a key element of the success of operating a business in the digital world. So when we started this series, we said, one of the best people to contact would be Veronica, who's an expert in that. So with further ado, Veronica Monell, thank you for joining us and hosting this.
Thank you, Lisa, for having me and having us. I'm joined by Laura Rincon. She's going to be helping in chat. Laura is our marketing strategist at Jumpstart Now. So yeah, I want to introduce myself. I am the CEO of Jumpstart Now. We are a marketing agency headquartered in Sacramento with national clients. Our focuses is getting our clients seen online, building their reputation, getting leads. So I've been in the digital world for, wow, probably like 20 years now. I started when everybody else started, during the time when Amazon got started. I built several multi-million-dollar revenue streams in video gaming, actually, on digital platforms where nothing had ever been done like that before. So Lisa, if you want to get to my next slide, I think. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so I was in video game for 15 years before I started my marketing agency and consulting in the greater Sacramento area. I have 20 years of e-commerce experience. So with e-commerce obviously comes digital marketing, growing your business, finding opportunities, ideas, how to make money in the digital world. I've been doing digital marketing for just as long, and I'm a strategist. I've worked with, probably now over 500 different small businesses in Northern California, consulting, and like my Jumpstart Now business. We have clients from high tech to local retail businesses and everything in between. So Lisa, if you want to go to the next slide for me, thank you. Oh yeah, so we have our first question. So today we're not going to do poll questions, but we would like for you to answer in chat if you'd like to answer and participate with us. It'll be fun. What is the current status of your business? We've been giving this presentation for quite a while, and obviously we've been going in and out of shelter at home and opening and closing businesses. So yeah, I'd like to kind of get to know who is in the room and where you're at with your business.
We got the first answer from Sam, and he's just starting. He's still in the research and formation phase.
Okay.
That is exciting.
Cool. Yeah, that is exciting. Very nice. Yeah, Lisa, if you want to give me my next slide. Thank you. So yeah, so let's, I want to start actually at the top here. When we go through phases like this in where things are changing, and actually, it seems probably pretty extreme right now how we're changing in a pandemic that hit us without us really being prepared for this. But if you think about the last 20 years and digital, we've actually been in a transition. We started that transition to digital business over 20 years ago, with Google, with Amazon. And if you look at what is happening currently, it is just speeding up what was inevitable, right? So now, speeding this up is obviously not always very comfortable for most of us. But at the same time, we need to, I believe that you need to see opportunities and limitations. So if you have limitations, there are opportunities. When we take a deep breath and take a step back from our business or our life, right? And look at what we can do to do business now differently. And I know it takes some doing to do that. It is possible. I've been able to give ideas to pretty much every single business owner, what they could be doing differently to generate revenue in this new, I'm saying here, new digital world. The digital world is obviously not new, but I'm saying that it's new for most small business owners who haven't thought about the digital world. So moving from a business, the way that we do business, to a new way to do business is all about mindset. Some of the things that you may think are a hurdle are really just getting to know and learn new software, finding how we can communicate differently with a client. But it starts with your mindset. And in my experience working, actually, I've been doing some workshops together with the SBA, that for many small business owners, that's where it starts. It is going out of your comfort zone, right? And when we go out of our comfort zone, it's not comfortable, but that is the only way that we can grow. And that's the only way that we can grow our business. So you might have a business and think how would I possibly do this digitally, right? So it is not even about taking exactly what you have and trying to force that into a digital strategy. It's like taking a much bigger step back and actually coming up with ideas that you may have never thought about. But in this digital world, in this new digital world for you, it might be just the right thing. Think outside the box. I know it sounds such a cliche, but in these times, we have to think outside the box, right? Because what we built in that box may not work at all anymore. And also, I would, while we all hope that things will go back to some kind of normal, it's not going to be the same. It takes 30 days to change a habit. So if you think about your customers and clients, whatever habits they have developed over the last few months, they will not exactly go back to how they've done things before. I know that I have, and I love the digital world. I love technology. But I have, for example, I started receiving groceries through Amazon Fresh. I had never done it before. I actually did it the first time in November for Thanksgiving. And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, wow, I could just order this online and they bring it in a couple hours to my front door. They just leave it there and then I'll bring my groceries in. So even now that I can move more freely and go to grocery stores and other stores, I have not gone back to shopping the way I'm shopping. I still have Amazon Fresh coming, and I just pick up little things here and there if I need it. But the major groceries shopping is done through Amazon Fresh. So I am not an exception to the rule. And this is just one example. So you need to think about, like, what is it that your customer, what is it that you can bring to the table that your customer and client is in need of now? And it could be very, very different. I was talking to a photographer, actually a videographer. I was talking to a videographer, and he's like, well, you know, most of my clients don't feel comfortable for me to come and do a video session with them. So I'm thinking, like, what if I offered some kind of, you know, some kind of workshop, tutorial, you know, what if I have other strength, you know? So I have strategic strength of that around video. What if I did that? Or I actually have I talked to a sports therapist. So she does a lot of in person, of course, right? Because, you know, she might, you know, there might be a massage involved, there might be stretching involved, there are all kinds of stuff involved. And she was talking to me about that she had actually some clients via video. And I'm like, how is that working? She's like, it's actually really working well, but it's a whole different demographic, because the people that I can work with on video, they are athletes, they know their body well. Wow, right? I mean, that is a really amazing story. So now she's pivoting to a whole different group of clients. And she can do this, she can generate revenue now. So also consider short-term and long-term revenue streams. Because every time, as a business owner, I know you know this, like every time that you start something new, it's gonna take a while for you to develop that revenue stream. You're gonna have to tell people that you're doing that, hopefully through social media, online marketing. You have to figure out how to talk to them. You have to figure out what the pricing is going to be. It's all that, right? It does not happen overnight. But sometimes there's short-term solutions to this. For example, with this therapist, sports therapist, the first thing she should do is contact the athletes she already had worked with and talk to them about doing like a video consultation, right? That's like short term. And because they're not going anywhere, you know, because of social distancing and everything, right? So she was able to get some people on her calendar right away. And then a long-term revenue stream, you know, so how she's going to build this. Like, you know, she has to reinvent herself. The next thing is like, understand where money is being spent right now. So for example, the government is still spending money. There's still a major contracts out there, and they're looking for small businesses to satisfy a need. There's also major government contracts where bigger companies are looking for small businesses to partake in that contract. So understanding where money is being spent. And even, I know that restaurants are struggling, but people are still doing takeout. People are still doing curbside pickup. People are just utilizing restaurants differently. Right? For example, I have a small grocery store here in my neighborhood, and they are now offering takeout meals from a major restaurant here in the city. I think that's genius, right? So it's not just what they usually have on the shelf, but in their deli section, they have a well-known restaurant brand, and it's actually going really well. People, like, everything is almost gone every day. They bring it in fresh. So while people shopping in the grocery store and may not think about going to that restaurant, here they can pick this up. So that was a very, very great idea. And it can be scaled, obviously. So kudos to them. Take time to strategize. We as business owners don't do that often because we think we always have to be busy with tasks and things that like of our never-ending list of to-dos. But actually taking time to strategize will get your business further than checking things off your list. Laura and I and our team at Jumpstart Now, we actually have a no meeting Wednesdays. And for most businesses, that probably sounds crazy. I was like, wow, like really like a whole day? But actually what happens during that day is we don't have to chase appointments or meetings. Yes, can we get some of this to do off our list? Sure. But we also have time to take a step back, take a deep breath, and it's like, you know, what is it that I need to learn? What are some of the new ideas that I should bring to the table? And I've noticed for us that often during those days that we have team members bringing new ideas into the team. We work in Slack, which is a communication app. And I see people posting like, hey, I would love to do something like that. Or here's a great idea. Or here's a great article I read. I use that day to think and strategize for my business. To even maybe write a few paragraphs, how I envision things. Everybody strategizes differently. But for me, like that no meeting Wednesday is my time to strategize. If you don't have a full day to set aside like half a day, 2 hours. Go for a walk, put it on your calendar and block it out. Because we, even in a pandemic, where most of us are sheltering at home, we're still busy all the time. It's always interesting when people say to you that, you know, now you have so much time. I feel I have less time, actually, because I need to pivot my business. And then think about how to market in a digital world. That is something that's new for most small business owners. But we know as a marketing agency, and we focus on digital only, that it's actually very, very efficient. And often it's actually cheaper. Now, one thing that you have to do is you have to learn how to do it. But the good news is that everybody is on social media. Even the people who didn't want to be on social media before are on social media now. This is how we're communicating. The future is definitely in social media, for sure. We talk about social media every day. People get their news on social media. People get information. People reach out to people. Like my major platform is LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every single day. And for many, that is really hard to comprehend. But since I can't go out to shake hands, I shake hands on LinkedIn all the time. People look at my profile, I post, I comment, I have discussions. I have people in my messenger on LinkedIn every single day. We're talking about all kinds of things. We share information, we get on each other's calendars, we talk about our businesses. Now, LinkedIn is great for business to business. That's obviously our business. So you have to figure out like what social platform you should be on. Do we have any questions, Laura? No, I'm going on and on. Or comments? Lisa, would you give me my next slide, please?
Oh, I just realized that my mic was not working. So yeah, we have no questions at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
But I do have a comment about like being online all the time, and getting information. I
Sure.
see a lot that, and we're gonna talk about like social media in another workshop, but I see that definitely brands are being more active. Consumers are engaging way more with brands than before. So I think it's definitely a place to be. LinkedIn is great for B2B. Personally, I'm an Instagrammer, so that's where I go to get advice, to engage with brands, to even to shop. So I think for every business, there is some platform that works perfectly for them. Just have to find the right fit.
Yes.
If I could say
Yes.
something also, Veronica,
Sure.
one thing that I've noticed through the whole digital world and especially social media is that you never want to, especially on the web, base your entire business on one platform. For example, everybody had commerce, everybody was focused on Facebook, and then Instagram showed up. Then people are
Yes.
utilizing YouTube, even Wikipedia of all places. But I think that it's important that if you're going to do social media, utilize all platforms. And I know and I hear this from business owners that I'm talking to. I don't have the time. I don't have the artwork.
Right.
And things are so fluid. We have to change every day. I said, well, it's like you have to create a plan and then work that plan. But also you have to create, I mean, at the very least, a website with a landing page,
Yes.
for example. Even if you're
Yes.
utilizing Facebook, that you can direct people to your website. Because if you're just Facebook, you can't just depend on one. So I wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, no, that's like for sure. Um, you know, I've I've worked with, hundreds of small business owners, and the story is always the same, that we just don't have time to do that. And I understand that, we're so busy, but we also know that if we don't focus on business development, we don't have business, right? I think for most small business owners, it is just such a learning curve. And it's a little bit intimidating for them because now they're going to have to, they have to talk about their business online, right? They're going to have a voice that's going to be heard. So I think that's also very intimidating. We've worked with many different small business owners. Actually, all our clients are small business owners. We know that small business goes up to like 50 million in revenue, right? Like we don't think about small business being a $50 million business, but they're actually considered by the SBA small businesses. So all of our clients are in the small business range. But that's also the reason why they come to us, because Lisa, you're completely right. Everything is fast moving all the time. And especially with the discussions that we have online, how brands are being perceived, everything is moving so much faster. Like we just recognize that we've been running a LinkedIn ad for our business, that we've been hearing that on LinkedIn, some of the brands are not getting into the feeds of of their connections anymore. Some of the people are not being seen. So everybody has seen a drop in engagement. And it's not because people are not on LinkedIn. It's because LinkedIn has changed their algorithm. And also that means that they're going to want to sell ads, right? So more and more, we're going to be running ads for our clients. Most of these business owners wouldn't know this, but we work in this space every day. We are, we are partners of Sprout Social. Sprout Social is a social media management platform. So we hear this all the time, and it's really hard that's why, we actually recommend that you outsource your digital marketing if you have a budget for that, obviously. It takes a budget so that, that you have a team that creates the voice, the messaging, the creatives, all those things. Yes, Laura?
We have two questions.
Okay.
So I just wanted to share those quickly.
Yes.
The first one is from Jessica. She's asking, which social media outlet do you recommend a business to start off with? Well, I'm going to take a first step at
Yes,
this
please
question.
go ahead.
Just because that's literally what I do all day. So I think depends. There is no universal answer. But I highly recommend having at least a Facebook page, just because it shows up way better in Google when you have a Facebook. Like that's going to be the first thing that people see next to your Google My Business and your website. So having a Facebook is kind of a must. People like to search around that. And besides that, it completely depends on what your business is. So if it's like clothing or retail or anything that's visually appealing, then Instagram is definitely a place to be. Pinterest, LinkedIn for B2B. Twitter is also kind of a B2B platform, but Twitter needs to be really, really active. Like you have to tweet 3-4 times a day, and it's really opinion heavy, and people expect brands to have an opinion. That can sometimes come with a backlash too. So that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah, for sure. Do we have another question, Laura?
Yes.
Okay.
Where can people go to create flyers for the web? I would recommend Canva. Canva is my favorite tool to use. And also PicMonkey is a great tool to create high quality flyers. And then if you have more of a budget, then Adobe has an entire array of different softwares that you can use. The most user-friendly is Adobe Spark. They actually have a mobile version or a really easy desktop version that's really similar to Canva. But yes, is there a cost? So Canva is free for limited capability, or it's, I think, about $15 a month for the pro version that includes all the animations, almost unlimited free images, videos. So I recommend that. Yeah, I'm gonna post the website here in the chat.
Nice. Thank you, Laura.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of these I've already talked about, delivering, mailing products, offering online services, conducting your business remotely is a big challenge for a lot of businesses, but I think many of us are getting used to. We were pretty lucky that we were already 99% remote, and we had all the tools and everything set up. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the remote business here on a different slide. But yeah, offering your, offering digital products, very important. That can be anything from tutorials, it can be downloads, it can be PDFs. I was working with a client, they are selling patterns for, I don't know if it was cross stitch or something. It's something like that, right? So instead of mailing them, they're selling them digitally. And in this, during this time, actually, their demand went up, right? So they're actually, what they have done is they're now 100% focusing on online marketing because they have seen the upside. What they have to do is, and I suggest that for everybody, they have to learn this from the ground up. Like every piece of their e-commerce store, they optimize. So every week they optimize something else, and they're just building this huge puzzle on how to, sorry, like my light is like now I have the sun coming in, sorry. I'm gonna have to close this here in a second. But they're learning everything. They're also running ads. They're learning like what ads are doing well and what ads are not doing well. And they are looking at all their analytics. It's pretty amazing because they've never done this before, right? So I'm sorry, I'm gonna take you with me. This is brand new to them. And, but they're up for the challenge, Oh, this isn't working. They're up for the challenge. So they've been growing. And yeah, they see new customers coming through, and they're learning this. So they are not going back anytime soon. They actually have now a really big following. So those are all kinds of things that you can think about. Laura mentioned selling online, right? So besides Amazon, which are the most obvious, right? Like Amazon, Etsy, eBay, both Instagram and Facebook have been pushing their online stores. So they actually always had online stores, but not at that, not with all that functionality. So we have seen several rollouts of their new store functionalities. And what that means for us is that they're obviously working on this. We know that people are getting more and more used to purchasing on their phones. I don't know if anybody ever has bought from Instagram here. I have. I thought it was like super easy on my phone to do that. I was actually waiting for somebody. I had like 5 extra minutes and I was on my Instagram. It's like, oh, I want that piece of jewelry, So before the 5 minutes were over, it was like already shipping. It was that easy. So that we will see that kind of change. And it takes people only one time to try it. And now they're comfortable. In this new world and that we live in, people are trying all this out. They are not going to go back. Lisa mentioned YouTube. Video is so important online to market your business. And so YouTube channels are becoming more and more sophisticated. There are, for example, in the advice space, YouTube, some of these people have hundreds of thousands of followers, and they are selling all kinds of advice. So if you are, for example, in a business where you've had digital like services, right, that you can't currently do at 100%, think about like what could you offer for advice that you could start to do some YouTube videos and sell, maybe consulting, maybe online advice, maybe one-on-one, video. There are so many opportunities. It is really time now. There's no better time than now to think about what you could do online. Yeah, Lisa, would you give me my next slide, please? Yeah, pivoting your business. We've been actually talking about this the entire time. You could also claim a new niche, just like my one client with her PDF patterns, right? Like we looked up her competition. She has competition, but she does not in a way that she does it. Like hers is actually relatively unique. So sometimes we can claim a new one, right? Like if you have any interest in any ideas that you think you want to pursue, Google is our best friend. Google it, and often you would actually be surprised. It's like, how is nobody thinking about this? It's because a lot of small businesses and business in general they're stuck right now. Even large brands have scaled back some of their marketing and advertising because they have to figure out like who they're going to be. And in that type of vacuum, you have an opportunity as a small business owner, as a business owner, to stake some new territory, to say, you know, this is my idea. I've always wanted to do it. I don't know that it hasn't been done yet. So now is the time to do it because people are actually, they're wanting this. And you hear about these innovations like every day, actually. There's all kinds of people coming out with ideas that are needed right now. Yeah, embracing digital tools and software. It's super, super important. And I know it is for many a hurdle. I get it. I worked with a business partner last night. She had a hard time with one of the softwares that we use. And she said, like, Veronica, I spent like 2 hours trying to figure this out. I know I'm laughing, I shouldn't be laughing. But I get the frustration. And I always say to her, like, you know, you just got to figure it out once. And then you know how to do it. In the beginning, it's going to be difficult. At Jumpstart Now, we do many technical integrations. Every time we add a new software and a new tool, it gets integrated into our business process. And even us, like we live in the digital world and we love technology. We're just integrating 2 pieces of software that need to speak to each other. And it's not working 100%, but we know we're going to get it to work. It's going to take some time. We have to learn all the different softwares and we have to figure out what is the best way for those softwares to talk to each other that it's helpful for us. So yeah, so this is also something, you know, for example, I have a demo later that actually it's a training session on an analytics tool that will help us optimize the articles that we write for our clients. And it's an amazing tool, but it's complex. We have to learn this. So we're going to learn it as a team. And everybody on the team has a different motivation using that tool. So all together, we're going to learn how to best utilize it for our clients and integrate it into our business process. So we actually take time aside to learn this. And I think that is also very, very important. You cannot expect to know it. That's just not possible. So again, like even with setting time aside for strategy, set some time aside for learning. As a team, we are lifelong learners. And we have to be that in a digital space because the digital space changes all the time. We look at everything that we want to do as like, what can help us? What digital tool or software can help us to get where we want to be? And what we want to offer to our clients, to our customers, on social media, and all that. So I know that's going to be a large leap, but you know, you start somewhere. You start somewhere. Yeah, considering new trends and habits, I already talked about that. The trends are maybe not as easy to see for a small business owner who hasn't been in a digital space. But looking ahead, I think is very, very important. We always say that, you know, we build a strategy for today and tomorrow because it is very important for us to look ahead. Because unfortunately, when we're behind, then it's really tough to get ahead. So we always have to stay ahead, like one step ahead, right? one step ahead of your competition, learn something new every day, like get one step ahead of your own business. You know, for example, Jeff Bezos at Amazon does this actually all the time. That's one of the reasons why he's so successful. He actually interrupts his own business, disrupts his own business. So if something is working, but he thinks it's not working as best as it could be, he actually breaks all this apart and builds it back together. Like he actually forms groups, strategic groups, to look at how the business can be done different while he's already in that business and already is ahead. He wants to get further ahead, or he wants to get ahead of another competitor. Sometimes it's not working and he's okay with that. And then he will put it aside. It was like, that didn't work. We tried it. So, you know, I know he's trying, like they're trying again, the whole fashion business, right? Where you get actually a box of clothes. You don't have to pay for them until you try them on and decide which piece you want, and the rest goes back. And really easy, like in the same box, you put it back in the box, you know, they give you like a box that can be reused, and you put it outside the door and they pick it back up, right? So he's trying that again, because we know that some of the clothing stores are having a really, really hard time. And it's also that we have supply chain issues, obviously. Yeah, would you give me my next slide, Lisa? Laura, do we have any comments, questions?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Actually, I also have an example about like how brands change. I find really interesting how Spartan Race adjusted to this whole COVID era. So, you know, Spartan Race is an obstacle course. That's their main moneymaker, that people go there and then run that course. And you think that it's really hard to make online. And then actually they created like an online competition, a virtual Spartan, when they tell you the obstacles and then you have to record yourself. And they even have an at-home edition when you just set up your couch in different ways and then you literally jump around your couch and things like that, which looks ridiculous, but it's like people are doing that. And of course, it's still not free. It is heavily discounted. So like a regular Spartan Race is like between $120 and $200, and they sell the online for like $50. But
Nice.
still, you're paying, like people are paying $50 to run in their apartments. Like this is serious, you know. So there is always a way.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I mean, we know that yoga has been going online a lot and actually really successfully. You know, for example, I love boxing. And so there are these boxing classes online. It's really super cool. They keep you, they keep you on track, and yeah. And they actually sell online individual training sessions. There is a boxing studio here, downtown Sacramento. And what they were doing while they were closed, they actually opened, they are back open, right? But what they did is they were having people take the boxing bags home, right? Like the full equipment. So they would be delivering to them. I thought it was genius. And this way they actually kept people, keeping their membership. And so they would switch them around, right? Like they had so many, and then every week somebody else got one. I thought that was actually pretty cool, right? Because I bet this way people felt engaged. And for them, you know, the monthly memberships are huge. That's how they're going to survive this. Laura and I, we love Orange Theory, and they did something similar. It took them a while to get going, but at one point they actually had some really cool online classes.
If I could
Yes.
mention something, and when you're talking about the mailing, it's like it's funny how things have changed in just 20 years. 20 years ago, we used to get so much junk mail, and you'd get a lot of mail. People stopped opening their mail and throwing it
Sure.
away because it was more exciting to get an email. Well, it's
Right.
kind of flipped. I
Yes.
love getting packages.
I know.
So exciting.
Me
And
too.
it's like, and I've been ordering things from local businesses. That little extra touch, that note, or a cute little card saying, thank you so much for helping our local business. We appreciate your support.
Sure.
That goes a long way. It makes me want to purchase from them again, even though I might be able to get it cheaper from someone else. It's that extra touch. I appreciate it. And I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm getting older. But my children who have ordered things, like teenagers, they're the
Right.
same. Cool.
Yes.
And how they
Yes, for sure.
that
For
extra
sure.
touch makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've even seen restaurants doing a really good job like pivoting in this like in this world, right? Like there's a local brewery, they also serve food. They're actually famous for their smoked meats. And so what they did is like they had curbside service. Um, and they made it so exciting. So it was like very exclusive, right? It was very exclusive. So tomorrow you're gonna get, I don't know, smoked blah 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 tacos. And we're gonna open ordering at 7 p.m. and we expect this to everything be sold out within 20 minutes. If that was true or not doesn't really matter. But I'm telling you, at one point they were all being sold out. Like everybody's like, oh my God, I missed that 7 p.m. window to order these. And so every day they would be selling out. It was crazy. But they did such a great job doing that. I was super amazed. So I mean, kudos to them. And their social media is solid. I mean, everybody knows on every given day what they have going on. They even had new beer releases during that time. And they usually make like a big deal out of it. But they did it online. They did it online and people would pick up. I mean, it was genius. They did an amazing job. This is also something like telling people like if you're open or not. Like there's so much guesswork on, is this business even still open or not? If you are open and you're not telling people, it's like it hurts your business. So those
That's
we
a
were
really, really
open,
good point. Yes.
because we're not like, you can't assume that people know. You just can't. You got to tell, like we all look on social media if they're open. If you don't tell them on social media, it's like you're not open, even if you were. Like I have a coffee shop, a local coffee roaster. They actually roast in that building 2 blocks from me. And I walked past there at one point and I'm like, I can't even tell if they're open or not. And there's no cars there because obviously they don't have food, so they can't have people sitting inside. So I walked all the way to the door and I looked inside to see if they're open. Now I was persistent. Like other people who drive by, they're like, oh, they're not open. And I walk in there and they're open. I'm like, you guys are open? It's like, yeah, we've been open. I'm like, nobody knows. Like, they're like, yeah, we lost so much business. Yeah, because nobody knows. There's not even a big open sign, like have a flashing sign or something, So that's too bad. That's how they are missing out.
Another comment on that is update your Google My Business. That is so important because when somebody Googles like, I don't know, restaurant, or like even in Google Maps, you search for local restaurants, Google will prioritize the ones that updated their opening hours and they have COVID updates specifically. And you can miss out on a lot of business if you don't update that platform. And it literally takes like 2 minutes to log in, change the time, and it's so important. And even personally, like when I Google things, I'm gonna go to the Sure Open because they just updated that, instead of guessing like, oh, is my usual place open? It doesn't say on social. It doesn't say in Google. Nah, I'm just going to go try something else.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. So I don't like let's skip these questions. Lisa, if you want to give me my next slide.
No
And I know,
questions. Yeah.
yeah. I think this is the last slide. So this is about your own business, how to run it remotely if you cannot go to the office. And I think this has been, even for large companies, like a major undertaking. And you know, like living in the state of California, we've also had other disasters, obviously. Um, Everything from earthquakes to fires to flooding. So all this actually applies. Um, I was at a big conference of small business consultants, and they were talking about how important it is actually for business to have everything digitized, because like even in a fire, if obviously if your office is burned down, right? You can't even get that loan that you need if you don't have all your paperwork. Now you have to find all the papers together. You have to request them, you have to log in, you have to do all these things. The all the business that were up and running faster are the ones who had digitized documents, because like everything can be lost. It also should not be on your computer. For example, if you use QuickBooks online. No matter what happens to me and my business and my home office and everything, like all my accounting, all my receipts, everything, invoices, everything is online. I could go anywhere, buy another computer, buy another laptop, log into my QuickBooks online, and everything is there. So think about that. That was like one of the biggest handicaps when everybody had to shelter at home and business owners couldn't get to all, business owners and their employees couldn't get to any, like all their documents and everything that they needed. They even had a hard time communicating. If you think about this, you know, a lot of people go to the office, they're at their desks, they don't communicate very much with others in other cubes, right? If you have a digital way of people to communicate, you could do this no matter if they're in the office or not. And especially if like only half of them are in the office and half of them are at home, right? So luckily we were set up for remote business, and we're 100% remote business. We also work with our clients remotely. And our, you know, our processes are really, really sophisticated, but this is something that's available to everybody. So it starts with a communication tool. Like, how are you communicating with people? And I actually have to say, like, I am proud to say that we communicate better digitally than in person, because we were half remote and half in person, right? So we were always waiting to update everybody when we saw them in person. Now that is not longer possible, right? We also have employees in different parts of the state. So we use Slack, and we are in Slack all the time. Slack is a communication tool. You can use it for audio calls. You could use it for video calls. We actually have meetings in Slack where we all get into a Slack channel. For example, we had an integration challenge yesterday, and there's like 4 of us in a Slack challenge, communicating. You know, it took like 5 minutes and everybody's on the same page. You can see if people are in meetings. I have my calendar synced with Slack, so my team can see if I'm in a meeting. I can see if Laura is in a meeting. I can see when people are online, when they're offline. And I love work. I don't love it, but I like working on the weekends. So I post a lot of messages in Slack. That doesn't mean that people have to pick it up. They will pick up those messages when it's almost like taking a piece of paper and put it on somebody else's desk, right? It's like, hey, I got, you know, can you please do this? Or I got this done and now the next thing has to happen, right? So You can do that all in that tool. There's an app for it. It's like being in the office. It is absolute amazing. We use cross-functional collaboration. This is a big one. I know, Lisa, we're running out of time. I have about 5 more minutes or so. Cross-functional collaboration is a concept that is often used in the high-tech space, but it works for anybody. Like, we use it as a marketing agency. That means that we work, like, we know each other's responsibilities and what the tasks are to that, our strengths. So when we work on projects together, we work also in a digital tool called Smartsheet. And on every project, everybody knows what everybody's doing, when their due dates are, what has to be done when, if there's any obstacles, you know, and we have these 10-minute each project kind of stand-up type meetings where once a week where it's like, you know, was that done? Why was that not done? What are we waiting on? When is the new due date? Okay, this is done. This has to be moved out. And it sounds like cumbersome, but when you're a remote business, to know where everybody is and what everybody's working on and how others can jump in to help is super, super important. I don't know that we could, like, we do a better job on projects with these kind of digital tools than anything else. So I would very much recommend that you look what's working for you. We also use, for example, so for project management, we use Smartsheet, and for task management, we use Jira. There's also, I believe, a free version of Jira Cloud. And it's putting tasks into a software so everybody else, so whoever you assign it to can pick it up. They know exactly what needs to be done. You can attach documents. This is a different way of working. And it also, like, I would lie if I told you it was easy for us to adopt these. It is not. But when we know that this could change how we do business, we do it. And by doing, we are adjusting to it, and we're figuring out how to best work within it, and everybody learns it. So, and we actually do these kind of releases almost like once a month. We have something new that we're doing, because our world changes so fast. Yeah, and just, you know, figuring out how to support people, also support them as a team, as a human being. What we do is once a week, we have coffee. Like Monday morning, 10 a.m., we have coffee. So we don't, the only rule we have is you can't talk business. You can get on a Zoom coffee. We all have our coffee and we can talk about anything. And we actually started that just to support our team's mental health, because not everybody has the opportunity to talk about anything with somebody, or sometimes it's good just to talk to people who have maybe similar experiences. Yeah, and sometimes we talk about, like, you know, what we'd like to improve upon or what we read, or it's like, I super enjoy it. And I think it's great for the team. It's not mandatory. So if you didn't want to have coffee with your colleagues, you don't have to have coffee, but it replaces that conversation that people have in the hallway. You know, it's actually, it's super cool. And we can do it from the comfort of our home. Yes,
So
Jessica.
we have a few comments
Okay.
and questions. The first one is if we can email a copy of the webinar.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that.
And then Jessica's asking for your contact information.
Yeah, if you want to put
I
it
think
in
we
chat,
can.
my email put my Veronica at Jumpstart
Mhm.
Now in the email.
Yeah, we can
In the
send a
chat.
follow-up email with the slides and the contact info.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. We'll
Yeah.
do that.
And then answer questions.
Yeah, I think this was our last slide, Lisa.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Thanks, everybody. No worries at all. No worries
Well,
at all.
well, thank you for sharing this great information. I know some people think, well, it's good to continue to hear it so that you get it's a call to action to make sure
Yes,
that we start doing these things. I'm looking at things that I need to do for the chamber as well.
yes,
So I really appreciate this information, and thanks to
sure.
all of you for also attending. This concludes today's webinar. And on behalf of Jumpstart Now and the San Joaquin County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, thank all of you for joining us today. John Freeman was on, and he had to step off, is our president of our chamber.
Oh, thank you.
So it was
Nice.
nice that he was able to join us. Our next webinar will be held on Thursday, July 23rd at 9 a.m. And our topic will be e-commerce opportunities and
Yes.
strategies for businesses. So we'll email everyone more information for that. So stay safe. Please follow the guidance of your state and your local county. Wear a face covering to slow the spread of COVID-19. So thank you all.
Yeah,
And
thank you,
again,
Lisa, for
Veronica and
having
Laura.
us. And thanks to
Thank you.
everybody who joined us this morning. Have a
Fantastic.
great rest of your week.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
There.